Dr. Shawne is in the house. Hey, everybody, how are you doing? Let me brush my hair. How's it going? I'm Dr. Shawne from Project Forgive. You might be watching from Project Forgive, from our Dr. Shawne page, even from our Joy page, our Joy is a Habit Facebook group, and Positive Compassion. However you're joining us, we're thrilled you're here. And if you're new, tell us. We love stars. I got it on my notes. If you're inspired, I know Facebook gives you stars. If you're inspired to give us some, woohoo, we'd love them. What we do, a good way to describe what we do here at Project Forgive, because we're non-religious, we're nonpartisan, we don't go into politics, we don't take sides, we don't do any of that. Our job is to bring people together and unify, and we're really about reframing forgiveness. We reframe it because what we've been taught is actually BS. We've been taught BS about forgiveness, and there's a lot of stereotypes of forgiveness. There's forgive and forget. No. It means you have to trust someone again. No. It means you have to be a doormat and just please let's get together again. No doormat. It means that you have to be complete and declare that you've forgiven. No. Forgiveness is complicated. And I took on this topic tonight, forgiveness as a state of consciousness, very deliberately. What if, I see you guys are showing up. Hello, I'm so glad you're here. What if forgiveness is a state of consciousness, not an action? That the emotions get you closer to forgiveness, the emotions that you're feeling, yet they also block the way. What a dichotomy. And if you remove the obstacles, and it's primarily one obstacle, which I'll get to in just a second, it turns out that forgiveness is completely natural and generally far easier than you may have thought, supposed, whatever. It's much more natural than we think. And what if forgiveness, these are questions to ponder as I go into tonight's lecture. What if forgiveness is more about creating healthy ways to relate to the people in your lives, the people you love, the people you adore, the people you work with, and also to relate in a new way in the healthy ways, even if you've gone through horrific pain or horrific betrayal. And I asked today's topic as a question on purpose. Forgiveness as a state of consciousness? Because this conversation takes a high level of critical thinking skills. I call it imperfect forgiveness. And how perfect is that? Because we are imperfect humans, and forgiveness is imperfect as well. And Dr. Martin Luther King said it exquisitely. We just had his birthday and celebration. And his big quote, his famous quote is, "Forgiveness is not an occasional act, it is a constant attitude." Okay, got that. I want to dive a little bit deeper and unpack this a little bit. Depending upon your grievance, it could be easy to forgive or harder. An easy one for me is someone cuts me off on the road. I can forgive people very easily when I'm driving. My husband, not so much, okay? There's someone steps on my foot, I can forgive pretty easily. Some things are harder. One of my hard things is being molested as a child. I've talked about this very openly. I have for many years. And whether you come from any kind of abuse, my imperfect forgiveness wasn't to declare I forgive you. It was peace. My imperfect forgiveness goal was peace. Now, it's an inner experience. This is an inner experience that doesn't have a charge or blame to it anymore. That to me is peace. Now, it doesn't mean I don't have moments where I go, oh, crap, I get triggered by something and it takes me right back when I was 8 years old. That happens, It's the way that you practice your consciousness of forgiveness. It's very, very focused. Here, I'm going to give you an example, okay? So I've been sick. I've been sick for the last week. I'm just coming off the tail end of it. And when I'm sick, me and my husband make an agreement. He sleeps in the upstairs bedroom. I stay in the bed, or we take turns or whatever. And we don't keep infecting each other, okay? Keep infecting each other. And it's hard because we've been sleeping apart for a week. Now, my husband's love language is touch. So I can tell that my husband's ornery and crabby because we're not really touched and snuggled and all that, right? And he flew off the handle with me yesterday, and he went to bed upstairs without saying goodnight. Okay? Oh, you know. So the wrong way to do it, like, you are so selfish. I can't believe you had a temper tantrum and went up to bed and didn't even say good night. That does not work. Might make you feel good in the moment, cathartic. It doesn't work if your goal is harmony in your relationship. Self-soothe, go to me. And here is a template for this. And once we're done, I'll put up notes. I'll put them in the little comments so you have notes. It's a very easy formula, and it works all the time. You just have to train people. You have to do it consistently, okay? And the formula is this. I felt blank when you did blank. I felt blank when you did blank. I felt blank when you did blank. I felt sad and lonely when you went to bed without saying goodnight. I felt hurt and scared and alone when you went to bed without saying goodnight. Very different focus on the relationship than blasting him in my immature consciousness of how I'm going to be as a human being. When I consciously choose the formula, I felt blank when you did blank, it actually opens up the doors for more conversations. I see you guys. Because here's the thing. We can't control people. We can't control them. We can train them around our boundaries, right? And here's the thing. One thing is true. If you're a person who's deeply developing connection, harmony, and intimacy in your relationships, I can guarantee one thing. And that one thing is that the people that you love and the people that love you are going to hurt your heart. It's part of the deal. It's part of structures of learning each other and deepening intimacy. Your boundary will get crossed that you never even expressed before. As you dive deeper into closeness, it's inevitable that you're going to have hurt feelings. It works that way. And it's supposed to work that way, quite frankly, even in research. And like when I see those posters that say, it's the, you see them on Facebook, it's the worst when the people you love the most betray you or hurt you. I just want to say, well, yeah, of course they're going to. We're imperfect humans living imperfect lives. And the key, though, is how do you do repair and get back together? That's the key, right? And it's young to think that people around you aren't going to hurt you. It's very, very young. Sometimes they do it purposely. Sometimes they do it in their own wounds. Sometimes they do it inadvertently. We are going to get hurt by the people that we love. It's part of the deal, okay? And I'm not telling you to be a doormat. I'm telling you to create really good boundaries that foster intimacy. And it's not a one-shot deal. It's not like, don't do that, that's my boundary, and then it never happens again. We are not wired like that. Think about a puppy, and I don't mean this facetiously because I'm a big dog person, okay? Puppies take consistent training to catch on. We also need consistent training as human beings. And the key is consistent reinforcement of boundaries. I've done lots of lectures on boundaries. Okay, here's one that I'm working on right now. My husband is very charming, okay? I love talking about what goes on in my marriage. He knows I'm talking about this, okay? He has the dilemma of constantly asking me to do stuff, and he won't take no for an answer. It's silly stuff. It's like, it's in the middle of the workday. We both work from home. And he'll interrupt me and he'll say, come on, come to Speedway with me, which is the local gas station. I want to get a Diet Pepsi. And if I'm in the middle of writing or doing something, I'm a no, man. I love to get my work done. Just like, boom. But sometimes they'll say, okay, sure. It turns out the place that he goes to is like 15 minutes away. We could go to the corner store, but he likes to go to get the fountain soda at the Speedway. I got it, okay? And if I say no, I'll say, no, can't do that right now. He'll say, well, maybe you'll change your mind. I'll come back to you in 5 minutes. Okay. Well, come back to me in 5 minutes. Come on, come with me. You need a break. I can tell. We'll hold hands. He's so cute. He's like, I'll hold your hand. And I feel the worn down because he might ask me 5, 6, 7 times the same topic to go to the Speedway, okay? And one thing I'm working on right now is using that formula. You know what, sweetie? I feel uncomfortable and unknown when you keep asking me to do the same thing. I really need you to hear my no. When I say it like that, he'll say, oh, got it, okay? And I'm training him with how I'm talking to him. And I'm talking to him with dignity and respect, the same kind of dignity and respect I would like to receive. And it just fosters this intimacy and this love in our relationship. Okay. Got another extraneous thought in this conversation of conscious forgiveness as a conscious state. Where are you on the cynicism scale? And the reason I ask is, are you able to give people the benefit of the doubt? Are you able to do that? So I don't know if any of you are watching the show on HBO called The Last of Us. Is anybody watching that? Okay, the show is amazing. Actually, I'm a television producer by trade. The episode last night, it was a 1-hour episode. It was the best hour of television I've ever watched produced for television. It was fantastic. I cried. I was moved. So many things happened. And I noticed when I was watching the show, it's a zombie show, so just so you know, it's based on a zombie game, and it's a dystopian future with those kinds of shows. I love those shows. And this episode was so exquisite, and I'm not going to do any spoilers in case you haven't watched it or whatever. And I noticed my cynicism when a new character came into the picture, and I thought something horrible was going to happen. Well, it's the genre of dystopian future, so I get that. But I couldn't settle in on what was going to happen in the show. And I'm like, wow, that's so interesting. I'm not even giving him the benefit of the doubt. I guess it's harder to give the benefit of the doubt when the world is coming to an end, okay? So I could appreciate that. But I just thought that is such an interesting thought about my own cynicism. It's just something to think about, that because when something happens in the past, so let's say the Speedway conversation with my husband in the getting a soda, I could not give him the benefit of the doubt and go back into the past when he's kept asking. Today, I'm not bringing that past into our future or into our present. I feel unknown. You can't hear my no, sweetie. I need you to hear my no. There's no charge from the past. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm giving myself the benefit of the doubt that I'm training him appropriately to make this work. Make sense? Okay, perfect. All right, I have one last thought. And this is that obstacle that I started this little lecture with, is we have obstacles that get in the way. The obstacle is only you, and you hear that a lot. You know, you're the only one who can forgive. It's all up to you, and it's true. It really comes down to your own worthiness. Comes down to your own worthiness. And I want you to consider that consciousness of forgiveness is entwined with your worthiness. And when your worthiness is high, you can say you're sorry without it feeling like you're being punished or you're a bad person, even if you didn't do something wrong. So I got a couple examples. Here's an easy example. Kids, grandkids. Little Brielle, my little 6-year-old, say, Grandma, you hurt my feelings when you did blah, blah, blah. It might even be when I looked at her while she was eating her soup. Okay, it's like something totally ridiculous that's not even true. Like, really? But she's 6, okay? So easy for me to say, oh, Brielle, I'm so sorry. What would you like me to do instead? You know, that's a no-brainer. That's, to me, those are validation, parenting, grandparenting skills. It gets a little dicey when you're accused of something you didn't do and the stakes are higher. So let's pretend you have a friend and she said to you, you told Mary I don't like her husband. It's really hard to give someone the benefit of the doubt, come into the state of grace, the state of consciousness, without defending. So the answer would be, and I'll put these in the text when I'm done. Oh, I'm so sorry. Please tell me more. What happened? When you're in a state of forgiveness consciousness, you're so grounded in your worthiness, there is nothing to defend. I didn't tell Mary that this lady didn't like her husband. I didn't do that. I don't need to tell her that in that moment. I can let the conversation of intimacy evolve. I don't need to defend myself. I don't have to prove I didn't do anything. And the natural evolution of intimacy, that will unfold and come out. It will evolve in intimacy. Many times we don't trust ourselves to stay the course, like when we set a boundary, that we aren't going to reinforce it to make sure the boundary is adhered to, right? And the only way that it can evolve in intimacy, like this accusation about, I told Mary that you didn't like her husband, is to allow it to progress in its natural way and trust my own self, trust my own worthiness, be in my own groundedness, knowing that it will come to a beautiful conclusion or not. Maybe this is a friend I don't need to have, right? It's just I'm gathering information, standing in my groundedness. So the conversation might go, I can't believe you told Mary I don't like her husband. What? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry that she's feeling so upset within the context. Okay, I don't know if it's Come and Get Your Love was the song that was playing. Sorry about that. Okay, so when you allow so here's an example of how the conversation would go. I can't believe you told Mary I don't like her husband. Oh, I'm so sorry, Francis. Please tell me more, because I am sorry that she's upset. I am. She's my friend. I love her. Well, Jojo said this and blah, 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 and that you told Mary. Oh, my goodness. Wow. A lot of my answers are, oh, my goodness, wow. And once she's emoted and gotten through that, and she's calmer, and say, wow, would you like to hear my take? I'd love to share it with you. I love you so dearly. I'm committed to being in a relationship with you. You know me pretty darn well. And I can honestly say I did not say that to Mary. Notice how I can talk about this, evolve the conversation without having to be defensive and defend. It's a waiting game. It's a maturity game. It's allowing things to be as they are. And that is that status of, in that state of forgiveness consciousness. It's standing solidly in your own self-worth. One last thought before I go. What about someone who rarely apologizes? They rarely make a repair. We have people like that in our life. There's reasons why people can't apologize. They might continue doing it, and then you can reassess how you want to move forward in a relationship. Or you tell them something, they don't apologize, and then they adjust their behavior accordingly. That is my husband, okay? My husband has a really hard time apologizing. And I think it's so funny that we're known for the apology you'll never receive, and I'm married to someone who does not like to apologize. Even if he steps on your foot, as an example, he would, I'm sorry, okay? And I've learned to accept this in my imperfect forgiveness and in my imperfect marriage, because there's so many things he does right. And so what I do is I accept the apology you'll never receive. In my mind's eye, I'll say to myself, if you don't know what it is, I'll pretend he's apologizing to me, because my state of grace will stay the same. I'll say, okay, Terry's not apologizing, Shawne. What would you like him to say? He'd say, oh, sweetie, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to step on your foot, you cutie pie, sexy lady. That's how I would say it in my brain, okay? And I can get soothed right away. I'm taking care of myself. I'm taking care of my needs. I'm reparenting myself, if those of you like that term. That reparenting is so, so powerful. And it's so mature. And it's so evolved. So I'm going to give you some homework to practice. I want you to practice the I statement, that formula. I feel blank when you do blank. I felt blank when you did blank. It's a very easy formula, and once you get into the habit of it, you'll have a grounded habit. Okay, that's it. Next month, I come up every Monday, 6:30 p.m. Joy is a habit. Some kind of something to entice and remember you that joy really, truly is a habit. And next month, February 27th, I thought this would be the perfect month to do a lecture on effective ways to apologize. I'll give you real examples, real templates, very easy peasy stuff, some complicated, some uncomplicated, some work related. What are some good ways to apologize? Okay? All right. Thanks you guys for being us. Please continue sharing us, share our posters, share our articles. It's a great way to support us, and we so appreciate you for that. Sorry I didn't look at the notes. I'm heading to go see some grandbabies because I've been sick for a week and I haven't seen them. So I'm heading out the door here in just a second, okay? All right. Big love. I will see you guys soon, okay? Take care. Bye-bye.